What's up, everybody? It's Chris with C-Dub Sports Cards, and today we are back for a different type of video. We might turn it into a series. I don't know. I'm unsure yet. This is the top 5 most iconic cards from the junk wax era. That's what I'm calling these 5 cards seen in front of you today. We'll start over here on the left. It is the oldest card. This right here is the 1985 Topps Mark Mcgwire 84 United States baseball team near mint 8. This is kind of a weird card. First of all, 85 is kind of a weird year. Is it junk wax? Some people say junk wax didn't start till like 88 with the introduction of Score. Some say 89 with the introduction of Upper Deck. Some say the early 90s when, they started to kind of spin off and do like Fleer Ultra and Donruss Elite and like all this other stuff. In my mind, the junk wax era starts when Topps gets competition, and that happens in 1981 when Donruss and Fleer enter the mix. So in my opinion, this is a junk wax era card. Tell me down below when your junk wax era starts. I'm curious to know. Everyone has a different opinion on this. But anyways, we're going to call this a junk wax era card. This was kind of a weird card when it came out. Mark Mcgwire was the first round pick of the Oakland Athletics. It was the year before, so he had already been drafted when this card came out, but he was like a prospect. He didn't make the majors until the late summer of 86, like August of 86 when they call up and do the expanded rosters. He got called up. So this is like a pre-rookie card. And, besides like traded sets, they didn't really have like prospect cards. Like that wasn't really a thing. And this is basically a prospect card of Mark Mcgwire. And like I said, it's the 84 United States baseball team. And in 1984, there was an Olympics. It was held in Los Angeles. And he was a member of that team. I'm not sure how they did. I didn't look it up. But on the back of the card, we have his stats at USC. He had a pretty good senior year there with 31 homers and hit 388. So that's why he was drafted. He did not have a great time at the Olympics. He hit a buck 80 with 0 homers and 0 RBIs and 20-something at-bats. But, when this card came out, it wasn't that big of a card. It wasn't the top card in the 85 top sets at 85. It wasn't the top card in the 85 top sets at 86. I don't even think it might have been the top card in 87 when he actually broke through and had an amazing rookie year. This card became iconic when him and Sammy Sosa dueled it out to break Roger Maris's single-season home run record. And they both ended up doing it, but at the end, Maguire beat Sosa 70-66. When Maguire did that and set the home run record, this card went absolutely bananas. It was like $100 card overnight. People were hunting for it. People were faking it. There was all kind of fakes out there. That's why I actually wanted to buy this in a graded condition, because graded condition means that they've verified that it is a real 85 Topps card. There's a lot of fakes out there. A lot. This was one of the first cards to get, I would say, besides vintage cards, of the modern era to get faked. Like I said, this became a $100 card overnight. And of course, it's definitely cooled back off since Maguire's retired. Barry Bonds broke his record. He got caught up in the steroid scandal. Blah, 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 blah. I picked up this near mint 8 copy for like $20. I'm not actually sure how it got at 8. You guys can see it's off-centered as heck. I thought PSA was a lot more stricter about off-centering than like SGC was. Might have great corners, might have great surface. I wouldn't think a card this off-centered could get more than a 7, maybe even a 6 from PSA. But there you go. 85 Topps, Mark Mcgwire. Became an iconic card like 10 to 12 years later, but was one of the, in 10 years later, this was the card to own from the junk wax era in 1997, 98, whatever that was. Second on the list, and we're not doing this in numerical order. We're just doing it based off of year. So second on the list, most iconic junk wax era cards. 1989 Upper Deck, card number 1, Ken Griffey Jr. As you know, Ken Griffey Jr., one of the greatest players of the junk wax era, ended up with 600 and something homers. Probably could have been a lot more. He probably could have challenged Barry Bonds' home run total, honestly, if he had stayed, completely healthy in his career. When he got to the Reds, he just got downtrodden by injuries. This card's iconic for a couple of reasons. This is the first Upper Deck set ever produced, and it is card 1. And, in your sets, when you get a complete set, card 1 is always in the front. And the card in the front of the box always takes the most damage. So there is and everyone made complete sets back then. So any card, especially if you look at vintage days, any card that's either the first or last card in the set always carries a hefty premium. I'm not sure if that holds true for modern cards, but like I said, this was card 1 in the set. He was the hottest rookie at the time. Topps didn't even include him in the 89 set. Upper Deck was forward thinking. They knew he was going to be a superstar, and they made sure that he was their first card they ever produced. Now, this card was hot right off the jump. I don't think it was ever less than like a $10 card when it first came out, and it went to 20, 25 really, really fast. This was a hot card back in the day. I never pack pulled it. I didn't buy a ton of 89 Upper Deck. Like I said, back then I was a quantity over quality guy, and you could buy like 2 packs of Score for the same price as Upper Deck, so I would do that every time. So I never pack pulled it. I did trade for it once with a buddy of mine, and to be honest, he didn't know what he had, and I felt kind of bad because I didn't really have anything of value to trade him, but I did give him like 3 cards that he really wanted, so, he got cards that he valued because he didn't value this at the time. He didn't know who he was, and I got this in return. But I've mentioned it before when I opened this on my mail day. I also traded this card away, which was one of the worst trades I ever made in terms of monetary value and even in terms of like real life value, because I traded it for a Ruben Sierra. That was the highlight of the trade, an 87 Fleer Ruben Sierra. And to be honest, I don't give a shit about Ruben Sierra. At the time, he had just been traded to the A's for Canseco, and that's probably why I was high on him. Like, I have to get the new rookie, or not the new, but the rookie card of the new A's player because they're my favorite team, blah, 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 blah. But I traded it for an 87 Fleer Ruben Sierra, this 72 Frank Robinson in much worse shape than that one, and a 73 Bob Gibson, and I want to say a 71 Willie McCovey. There was a Willie McCovey in there too. It was 3 vintage Hall of Famers. And like I said, at that time, I didn't own any vintage cards. All the cards I had were like pack pulled cards and a couple that garage sale pickups. They didn't really have any vintage Hall of Famers in them. So those were like my first 3 vintage Hall of Famers. And I was proud of them at the time, even though they were all beat up. But in terms of like monetary value, I got hosed on that deal. But anyway, iconic card, Ken Griffey Jr., The Kid. This is card 2, 1989 Upper Deck. Card 3, 1990 Leaf, Frank Thomas. So 1990, like I said, 88 Score came out, 89 was Upper Deck, 90 was like Leaf and maybe Pinnacle, which was a Score offshoot. Pinnacle might have been 91. But anyway, so like this is like one of the first offshoot products. Leaf is owned by Donruss. So this is like a high-end Donruss set. And at the time, this was even more premium than Upper Deck. Packs of this were going for like $2.50, I want to say, right out of the pack. And this was a high series one. And the high series went for like $4 or $5. Like I said, for $5, I could buy like half a box of 88 Score, 88 Donruss, or 90, whatever year we're in, 1990, sorry. 90 Score, 90 Donruss, 90 Flair. I would buy half a box of that every time over like 2 packs of Leaf. So I never pack pulled this. I shouldn't say none, but anyway. I never pack pulled this. I never bought any 90 Leaf, maybe a pack or 2 at like a card show or something when they were like on sale. But anyway, this is the 90 Leaf Frank Thomas. This is the first year of Leaf. This is the first ultra premium set, I would say. This was a high number card, so like the buzz was already out after Series 1. Um, he was the hot rookie at the time. As it turns out, he went to have a Hall of Fame career. This card always carried a consistent value, like it's always been like, a $20 card. There was a time maybe it was a $40 or $50 card. I think I picked up this Mint 9 copy back in the $20 range again. So it's come back down, but it is by far the most iconic card of a Hall of Fame player from the junk wax era. And it's an iconic card in the baseball card timeline because it is really the first ultra premium kind of set. I mean, I know it doesn't look very fancy, it's not color or flash or anything like that, but in terms of price, it was the first like ultra premium set. And so this card carries a lot of significance in the junk wax era. Card 4 on the list, also from 1990. And this is something different. Bo Jackson at the time was one of the, if there was internet in 1990 and, there was social media and all this stuff, this guy would be like the top searched guy on whatever. Like, he was all the buzz back then. He was playing pro football and pro baseball at the highest level. He was an MLB All-Star. He was an NFL All-Pro. He was doing both sports at the highest level and being successful at both. Like, Deion Sanders did both too. Deion Sanders was not a great baseball player. I don't think he was ever an all-star, ever considered an all-star. Great football player and a good enough baseball player to make the majors, but he was not an all-star. And, Bo Jackson, what could have been, if he didn't get hurt in football, it ruined his hip. And so that has a lot to do with your power in baseball. He couldn't produce like he did, before he got injured. This is just a weird card, though. Like, first of all, it's black and white. This is the 90s, black and white. It's also like a model photo. Yes, it has a baseball bat. Yes, he has football pads, but it's like a model photo. It is nothing. He's not in the act of playing either of the games. This is 1990 score Bo. And it's called the Bo card because all it says on the back is Bo. Card 697. It is a regular issue card. When it came out in 1990, it was all the rage. Like I said, I bought a lot of Score. I went hunting for this bad boy. And Score has always been a huge set. It's like 792 cards. So, if you get 15 cards per pack, and I know it's 35 packs per box, but we're going to keep math simple. We're just going to say 30 packs per box. So that's 450 cards. You're not guaranteed to pull this out of the box. It's going to take you 2 or 3 boxes to pull this card. And I probably opened up, 5 boxes to pull this card. I did pack pull this card back in the day. This is not the copy. As I've mentioned before, my childhood collection did not make it to my adulthood. I had to repurchase this card. But yeah, iconic card, 1990 Score. I'll tell you a quick story about how I pack pulled it. I remember it because it was an interesting story. They had a baseball card show at a minor league baseball game. The San Jose Giants were the single A affiliate of the San Francisco Giants, played in San Jose, California, which was much closer to where I grew up. And we used to go to a lot of San Jose Giants games. They were cheap. I really liked baseball. They had fun things like the card shows, and they were like free to get into as long as you had a ticket to get into the game. I liked baseball cards, so I want to say they did the card show once a month. There was a vendor there that had 3 packs of Score for $1. Like, how could I pass that up? And I kept going back to him. Like, every time I would scrape up $1 from my dad. I think I started with like 15 packs because I had $5 when I got there. Went through the 15 packs, didn't get it. Scraped together $1 from my dad or my mom or whoever. Bought another, 3 packs, didn't pull it. Got to the 8th inning. The vendors have started to clean up. They're starting to pack up their stuff, getting ready to go home. The guy that I had bought it from, I think he was down to 2 packs of Score. So, like, he gave them to me for 50 cents because he just wanted to get rid of them and not take them back home. And in the last 2 packs, in the top of the 9th inning, while I'm sitting there watching the end of the San Jose Giants game, I don't remember how it went because I was too excited because I pulled this card out of one of the last 2 packs. My 1990 Score Bo card. Like I said, the funny thing about it to me is that it's just Bo. Like, there's no stats, there's no paragraph, just Bo. Because that's all you needed to know at the time about this guy on the front. that's Bo. So yeah, just a fascinating card from the 90s. I want to say when it came out, it was like a $5, $10 card, even though it's not short printed. His regular card from this set's like a 50-cent card. Even when he was hot, it was a 50-cent card. Now it's probably more like a 10-cent card. But yeah, this card always carried a premium and always had value. Everybody wanted this card. Now you can get this copy I think I got for around the $5 range. I don't know what it actually goes for, but yeah. So just a fascinating card from a mass produced, nothing is more mass produced than Score back in those days. But a card that's held its value because it's so iconic and so many kids remember chasing after this card. Last but not least, 91 Upper Deck Michael Jordan, and this is why I think it's iconic card. SP1. For anyone that rips now in the hobby, everyone's always searching for short prints. There were short prints in vintage cards, but it was usually accidental. Like they would have some sort of issue with one of the batches and they had to throw it out, or the printing plate got screwed up so they could only produce like half as many cards as some of the other ones. It was never a purposeful thing, to my knowledge. This was the first purposeful short print put into packs, to my knowledge. Michael Jordan, 1991 Upper Deck Baseball. You know Michael Jordan as a basketball legend, but in 1991, Michael Jordan decided to try to give professional baseball a try. That summer was kind of very chaotic for him. His father was murdered. He had just won, I believe, his third or fourth straight NBA title. There was a lot of rumors going on that he was being investigated by the NBA for his gambling. He's always been a big gambler, not necessarily a sports gambler, but like to play the cards, like to play the ponies, all that kind of stuff, which isn't necessarily illegal, but it is illegal if you start betting on sports, especially the sport you're affiliated with. So there are rumors that the NBA had dug up enough evidence that they were going to suspend him. And to save his good graces, Michael Jordan decided to, retire from basketball and decided to give baseball a shot. Now, he did play baseball, I guess, in high school. I don't think he played it in college. In college, he had switched over to just basketball primarily. But he had played it in high school, and it was like his dad's favorite sport, and it was always his dad's dream for Michael to go try to play baseball. At least that's what Michael said. So in 91, Jordan retired from basketball, and he had the luxury of joining the Chicago White Sox because they were owned by the same guy that owned the Bulls, which was his basketball team. So it was kind of like an easy transition in that point. The owner could do some help finding him a spot. He went to the minor leagues. I think he did get called up, when they do like the expansion rosters after his second minor league year. He was never very successful in the minors. I know there's like a 92 or 93 Upper Deck Michael Jordan star rookie card. And it has his minor league stats on the back. I don't think he was ever better than a 225 hitter. Never had much power. He was definitely, and he was 33, 34 when he tried to go back and play minor league, major league baseball. For a guy that hadn't swung a bat, other than in a fun, way with his kids or whatever, hadn't swung a bat to try to make a living for 15 years. That's asking an awful lot. But in 91, Upper Deck decided to commemorate the fact that he was joining baseball. And inside 91 Upper Deck, they inserted this card, SP1. And of course, SP stands for short print. So this was the first purposeful short printed card. Now, they did it the next year with Tom Selleck. And they did it with Tom Selleck. And I believe Frank Thomas is on the card because Frank Thomas is showing him how to play first base and giving him updates. And probably Frank Thomas is actually in the movie. I don't even remember the movie. I think it's called Mr. 3000, the Tom Selleck movie, where he's going for 3,000 hits or something like that. I think he has to go to Japan to do it. I don't remember. But anyway, the next year they did a Tom Selleck version, not nearly as iconic and not nearly as popular as the Michael Jordan, which is obvious. So there you go. There's card 5 on the most iconic sports cards of the junk wax era. You guys can tell me down below if you disagree, if you have any cards that I should have added. You know, some people would have said the Derek Jeter rookie card from '93, I think that was, SP, the one that has like the foily board on the back. There was definitely some other options. Some would have said the '89 Fleer Ripken Air card. I might do a separate video for like top junk wax era air cards. That's why I didn't include that. I think that deserves a different category. It is very iconic. It definitely could have made the list. I've decided it goes on another list. But yeah, tell me down below what you think of the list. Tell me down below if there's any other cards that I left out or should have given more consideration to. Thanks for joining me. It's great to have you guys back. And until next time, peace out. Thanks. Bye.